Game day's here, I can hear the crowd. Turn on the lights, fans are cranked up and loud. Red or blue, we wear it proud. Yeah, we love our teams in this border town. Chiefs and Royals, Boom Mizzou, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, KU. Hear that drum pounding in your feet. Yeah, you're marching to the beat of KC.
What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the Beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas Murphy, and I have the pleasure of bringing you Kyle Collier from 810 Producer. Super excited to have him on because, ladies and gentlemen, the Kansas City Royals play baseball today. It's going to be opening day for the Royals. They're going to be taking on an absolute challenge in the Atlanta Braves, specifically with Chris Sale on the mound. And that's really, Kyle, first of all, how are you doing?
Lucas, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back on the channel, man.
Heck yeah, man. I'm so amped to talk baseball. Every time I've started a video on the Royals, I say that. I'm sure people that are watching are like, this guy. But, man, I am. It's in my blood. I love baseball through and through, so I'm excited to ask you questions about it. So my first question is we did say Chris Sale will be taking the mound. He will be opposing Cole Ragans, who I'm amped to see take the mound. Healthy Cole Ragans, we know what he's capable of doing. My first question to you is obviously this team really kind of addressed some key situations, players that they went out and acquired to really kind of adapt to a lefty-righty matchup. And with Chris Sale on the mound, really, what do you think about the lineup tomorrow? Who do you think we're going to see versus who we may not see?
Yeah, so I think whenever Q puts out that lineup, I think we're going to see Lane Thomas start getting that start on opening day. If you remember last year, Kevin Biggio actually got a start on opening day from the left-handed side of the box. We know Q. He loves his lefty and righty matchups, and he's going to try to take advantage every chance he gets. We actually had Jeff Passan on the program today, and Passan said when healthy, Lane Thomas, he can absolutely be an everyday type of outfielder. He's shown that ability in the past. Numbers were obviously not very good last year, dealt with injuries, but if he's healthy this year, I expect Q to make a weapon out of Lane Thomas. Possibly, it's going to be a platoon with him and Kyle Isbell out there in center. And then, what I'm really interested to see is if Caglione gets the call tomorrow, if he gets put in the lineup. Chris Sale, that is a disgusting angle. And we just remember facing him during his White Sox days. It's a nasty throwing angle. It's going to be tough on any lefty that steps up there in the box. I expect right-handed heavy. I expect Garcia, Witt, and then I think Vinny is probably certified himself as that number 3 hitter, and then you're going to get Sal. So the top 4, 0 questions about.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see Lane Thomas. I actually had him in fantasy baseball. I think it was his second or his last year with the Nats, and it was when he put on an absolute show for them and hit. I think he surprised a lot of people because he had home runs. He was doing things I don't think they really anticipated him doing. And then he obviously dealt with those injuries, went to the Guardians. And that was one of the biggest signings, I feel, although people are going to say it's not really a big signing. I think that really just bolstered the outfield the time we signed him. And he had a decent spring. So I think it's really going to be something to pay attention to. And I'm excited for Starling Marte, man. I really am. I know he's a little bit more on the aging side, but he brings that veteran presence. I think he's going to provide you some excitement, and I'm really excited to see him play. And I think if Cags obviously doesn't get the start, then I think you might see Marte out there and kind of take over there. But, man, it's just going to be incredible to see. And so that kind of leads me to Cole Ragans. Obviously, we're getting a hopefully healthy Cole Ragans. What do you anticipate from Ragans on the bump?
Man, that Braves lineup is no joke. That's one of the. It's definitely something you're gonna have to watch because last year Cole Ragans pretty early showed dominant stuff. Right, the strikeout numbers were astronomical, but he just was not going deep into any games. It would often be 5 innings. He would make it into the 6th, record 1 out, 5 1/3 innings. But, he'd put up 10, 11 strikeouts sometimes. I think last year in Milwaukee, he struck out like 13 in 5 innings, something ridiculous like that. But, obviously the injuries to the lower half of his body, and then eventually I think he dealt with a shoulder as well last year. it was just all over the place for him last year. Hopefully he gets off to a good start, a nice efficient night. I don't expect to see him go like 100 pitches or anything. We know how Q can be. So if he's laboring a little bit in the fifth and he's sitting around 80, 85, we might see him get pulled. But really, I just want to see a nice, clean, efficient night for Cole Reagans, and I'm going to be paying attention to the fastball velo and see if it stays consistent.
Yeah, if we can stay consistent, 96, 97, even 95, but painting and really kind of working that changeup, that slider, man, he's got it working. And those if the strikeouts I feel like are increasing tomorrow, then he's feeling good. So obviously the Kansas City Royals, they made some acquisitions. We talked about, the righty lefty matchup. I guess one of my biggest questions is, do you trust this lineup to consistently produce runs over a full season now that we've kind of made adjustments? We've gone out and really fixed, in my opinion, what was really the weakest point of this team. Do you feel like they're going to produce those runs?
Yeah, because you brought up Starling Marte earlier. I brought up Lane Thomas. What JJ did this offseason was just go out and get professional hitters. Frankly, last year, I'll bring up last year's opening lineup again. I mean, Kevin Biggio was not, he was an established depth player, I think, but MJ Melendez, not really an established big leaguer. He'd been in the league for a couple of years, obviously very inconsistent. And then Hunter Renfroe just, fell off a cliff. What you've got now, an older Starling Marte, an older Lane Thomas coming off of an injury. These guys have produced in their careers quite a bit. And, they're not going to be everyday guys. Bacachuero is going to use every bench asset he has, and it's going to be, a situational type of managing style. That's what he's going to do. So, after Chris Sale gets pulled tomorrow, hopefully, you're going to start seeing those left-handers come off the bench. That's just how Q operates. But, to answer your question about the lineup just over the length of a full season, I do definitely expect them to be at least top half of the league this year. Passan actually told us they could be a top 10 offense this year. And, man, just if they had that last year, they probably would have been a playoff team, even with all the injuries that they dealt with to that pitching staff. This year, I think you have a lot more talent, especially young talent. Caglione gets a little bit more experience under his belt. I loved what I saw from him this offseason in the WBC and even in spring training. He seems like he's willing to take more walks this year. He's still going to strike out a little bit because that's just the nature of a power hitter like him. But what we saw from Carter Jensen last year is real. And a lot of people around national media in the league believe that. The Royals have added some actual juice to their lineup. Maybe you can't bank on it, but you'd like to think Jonathan India has a bounce back season as well and gets back to that, 700 plus OPS type of hitter that he was. Because last year I think he was hovering around 650, something like that. And he dealt with a lot of injuries too. So yes, to answer your question, I think this lineup's going to be much better. What I'm going to be watching is the starting staff and the health of those arms.
You led me right to my next question, man. You literally put it on a T perfectly, and no pun intended with the T piece, but how much do you trust the Royals starting rotation heading into 2026?
I'll put it on a scale of 1 to 10. A 6 right now. The only guys who have shown they can, do it over a full season are Waka, Lugo. Cole Reagans did it once, I think, but Chris Bubic hasn't shown that. Noah Cameron, we'll see. Obviously put on a show last season. We have not really seen him deal with any physical adversity yet. But frankly, it's definitely the most nerve-wracking part of this season for me. Because Waka is 34 now, Lugo is 36, and then Cole Reagans has just, after 2 elbow surgeries, the leg cramps he dealt with last year, plus a shoulder, and then Chris Bubic also coming off of a What I'm glad that JJ has done is just acquired all that depth. I'm surprised Ryan Berger didn't make the team. It stinks that Stephen Kolek is going to start the season on the IL. But I am glad that, Berger is there. AAA in Omaha, they're going to have probably the best rotation in AAA.
In a market that never sleeps, one name rises above the rest. Lisa Miller from Dan Lynch Real Estate. Trusted by hundreds and recognized across the Midwest. She delivers results when it matters the most. With over 13 years of experience and licenses in both Kansas and Missouri, Lisa isn't just selling houses. she's helping you find a place to call home. Whether you are a first-time homebuyer, looking to upsize, or selling your current home, Lisa makes the process smooth and stress-free. As a local expert passionate about building lasting relationships, she ensures her clients feel confident and satisfied every step of the way. Don't wait, your perfect home is just a call away. Contact Lisa today at 913-579-3246 or 913-369-3000 or visit lisamillersaleskc.com. Let Lisa Miller at Lynch Real Estate help you start your next exciting chapter. And let her know the beat of KC, Lucas Murphy, sent you her way. It's insane, man. It's something I talked about in my video last night. I'm like, I mean, most of those guys are easily major league. I mean, if you look at the Washington Nationals, most of those guys that we just mentioned literally could be in their starting rotation right now. And it's incredible to see the depth. And I always took to heart when Dayton Moore said during his tenure that that pitching is the currency of baseball. And I truly believe that. And that's probably something that JJ took into his consideration when he got the job, is like, man, we got to get as many starting pitchers as we possibly can and make sure that they develop and turn out to something, because you never know. It's 162 plus if you make the postseason, and you got to be able to compete. And yeah, so that leads me kind of to the next one, Kyle, is obviously the bullpen's kind of been revamped. I think a lot of people, I know the morning show with Stephen St. John, they kind of really talked about the bullpen this morning. And one of the things that I was kind of keened in on is the fact that they said that they feel like they could finish, in the 20s. They could also finish at 7. It's really kind of a mystery. And one of the biggest factors right now is your closer. Your closer is consistently sitting 88 to 90 miles an hour and has really kind of raised some concerns. And a lot of people say, he comes along slow with the miles per hour. I think we're at the point now where it truly is a concern, because he's not anywhere close to where he's been. What are your thoughts on the bullpen and Carlos Estevez?
Yeah, so first of all, I love me some Matt Strahm. Big on that piece coming back, but 35 years old, right? Alex Lang in there, a bit of a wild card. He's got nasty stuff, but he's always struggled to throw strikes. You're right about Estevez. He did this last year, but it wasn't quite to this extent. I think, early in camp, he was sitting low 90s, and we're like, okay, he's normally around 97, 98. We saw in Philadelphia. This year, it was not that, right? I believe early in camp, he was sitting at 86, which was definitely worrisome. And then now he's sort of ramping back up to 90, 91. I'm definitely nervous because, that's your closer. And frankly, if he goes down, you're going to have to bump Lucas Erceg into that role and, possibly find a replacement. I mean, if Estevez is low 90s, I struggle to see how that's going to be an effective major league reliever, if not for, garbage time innings. That definitely worries me. Last year, we saw a guy like Lucas Erceg also dealing with the back injury. His strikeout numbers were way down last offseason. He has said, that's his goal, to get those numbers back up this year. I believe he can do it. If he comes out and he's pumping 100 again, I'm going to feel fine about that. But yeah, Estevez is tough because let's say we go into this Braves series and there's a close game in the ninth, and the Braves have Ronald Acuna, Austin Riley, and Matt Olson coming up, and Estevez goes up there throwing 92. I'm going to be a little bit nervous.
That's BP for those guys. You know what I mean? It is. It's like us when we're out on a slow pitch softball field and here it comes in the big beach ball. You know what I mean? Man, that's the only thing. And he doesn't really throw a cutting fastball either. It's straight over the top down. You know what I mean? And yeah, you kind of need that velo to work off your other stuff. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because that same scenario was brought up, and it's man, that Q has to make the decision. And I think that with coaches, specifically major league coaches, they're very loyal to their guys until it's almost to the breaking point. We've seen it with the Royals time and time again with guys that are kind of on the cusp of not making his team, with Nick Lofton and Blanco. You could go down the list and talk about guys that are teetering the Nate Eaton for a long time, and then he finally doesn't even make the team and is hanging on with Boston right now. So there's guys that are they showed so much loyalty to those guys, and it's just kind of fascinating. And Estevez, I think, will be the same thing, and they're just going to send him out there until it's just not working officially. So that kind of leaves me big picture, man. We're kind of getting to a little bit bigger. I know we haven't even kicked off officially yet, but obviously this is the time where you do bold predictions. You really put in your ideas, and I did mine last night. So my first question when it comes to the big picture, do you believe this team can compete in the American League Central?
Absolutely. I believe if you look at any betting market right now, they're in second behind the Tigers. I absolutely think. My prediction, the program, we're actually going to reveal our program predictions on Monday next week. But yeah, I wrote it down, or I filled these out on like Monday. I've got 88 wins for the Royals this year. That should absolutely compete for the division, if you ask me. Now, I understand that Detroit is an absolute wagon. And frankly, I think, man, unless you just beat them head to head, you just win that series by more than 3 or 4 games, it's going to be tough to see Detroit fall without injuries to that starting staff or that lineup. But, I mean, that being said, I think Cleveland takes a step back this year. The White Sox are still somewhat the White Sox. They're not quite the Colorado Rockies or the White Sox from the year before that, but they're not good yet. Minnesota, obviously, I don't expect to be good either. That team, just with their front office and ownership, they're going through hell right now. So I don't expect Minnesota to be good either. So I think Detroit and Kansas City are going to eat on the rest of the division. It's just, can Kansas City keep up with Detroit and that very expensive and high-powered starting staff?
Yeah. Man, I just have this weird feeling that we're going to win the Central this year, and that's really kind of been my prediction. I think I said 87 wins, but then I started reflecting. I'm like, I don't know if that's enough to win the Central. Like, I feel like to win the Central against the Tigers, you're almost going to have to be like right at 90. And I think that's where it's going to have to be at, because today, for example, man, I really paid attention to the Tigers specifically, and they obviously called up one of their top prospects in Kevin McGonigal, and he goes 4 for 4, I think it was, or 4 for 5. He had 4 hits in the game. I know that. And some absolute laser beam line drives. And obviously Skubal takes the mound and just dominates against the Padres. So, I mean, they are going to be tough. And that's one of their toughest pieces is their starting rotation. I mean, they're pretty deep with that starting rotation. I think it's going to come down, can they consistently score runs, which is they're kind of known for, but just stay consistent with that. And that's where I think the Royals, if they can find it, exactly what we talked about earlier, if they're consistent on offense, they're going to compete with the best of anybody. And so, yeah, I think that's what's exciting. I obviously mentioned Kevin McGonigal. My question to you is, so this is something that I think national media, and you kind of brought up Carter Jensen. National media is kind of really circling around him. He's obviously a top prospect. I consider him past the prospect now, but he's still obviously listed as that.
Yeah.
Do you feel he is going to win the AL Rookie of the Year?
Man. So, yeah, I'll come clean. My prediction for AL Rookie of the Year was Kevin McGonigal this year. I just think he's going to be a stud piece in that Detroit lineup. With Jensen, the question is just how many games is he going to be playing? I'm not sure what the role is. I know he's going to get plenty of at-bats and nothing like that, but I'm not sure if he's going to be an everyday bat. I'm just curious about the playing time split, and if he can play 140 plus, then absolutely he can win Rookie of the Year. If it's more, I don't know, Salvador caught like 93 games last year, and Jensen catches the rest of the 60, but doesn't play all that much after that, then yeah, it's probably not going to be in the cards. But I think they're going to need Carter Jensen. I think he's going to be, at the end of the year, if you ask me, he's probably going to be the 3rd or 4th best bat in that lineup. So yeah, I want to see a lot of playing time. It's definitely possible he wins Rookie of the Year. I just think this McGonigal kid looks really good. And as a Royals fan, it's making me mad.
Yeah. I saw a comp to Dustin Pedroia, and Pedroia could not only produce on the field, but what he provided from a leadership perspective. I mean, that's really one of what they talked about specifically, was how he compares to kind of that, how he carries himself, how he plays. It is going to be tough because, if you have a guy that's consistently going out there and just raking on a daily basis, where Carter Jensen is going to have to, like, I don't anticipate Carter being in the lineup tomorrow because it is a lefty. It's a premier lefty. And so I think that's something that we're going to have to really pay attention to. I think he's going to. I feel like he's got the capability. Again, it just, you nailed it. It's going to be how much playing time does he truly get. So my next question is, we kind of really encompassed everything. So who's your breakout player for the Royals in 2026?
Great question. I feel like it's too easy to go with Jensen or Caglione. You know what? Give me Jonathan India. I think he's gonna have a bounce back season. I really think he just hit a string of bad luck last year. He got hit in the hand. He got hit in the face. Um, he started last year trying to learn outfield, and obviously, I don't think that transition took very well. And you know, he's got an opening here at the beginning of the season because yet again, Michael Massey is starting the year on the IL. I know Nick Lofton's there; he can play outfield and infield. I think Isaac Collins can also play a little bit of second and third base. But, you know, Jonathan India has a chance to just kind of reassert himself here and be like, hey, I was worth Brady Singer. So I'll go with him.
What is going on, Kansas City? The Beat of KC here. And I want to provide you an opportunity to check out one of the most coolest apparel companies that exist out there. You know, we take pride in what we represent, and that's why the Beat of KC is teaming up with Homage, the brand built on celebrating sports, pop culture, and moments that defy us. Homage isn't just another clothing company. No, they're not. They specialize in ultra-comfortable, premium quality apparel that blends vintage vibes with modern style. We're talking buttery soft tees, ladies and gentlemen, classic graphics, throwback logos, and iconic gear that brings real-life nostalgia back to life. From repping the Kansas City Chiefs to rocking the Kansas City Royals all season long, Homage helps you wear your loyalty loud and most definitely proud. Their designs honor legendary teams, unforgettable eras, and the culture that makes cities like Kansas City so special to you and I. And now through our partnership with the Beat of KC, you got the perfect excuse to upgrade your game day gear. Premium comfort, timeless style, pure KC pride. Make sure you guys scan that QR code if you're interested in any type of apparel related to Kansas City. Remember, Homage and the Beat of KC. Because in Kansas City, we don't just support the culture, we wear it.
I promise, ladies and gentlemen, we did not talk about anything beforehand. I swear my bold prediction or my breakout player was Jonathan India.
There we go.
I think I agree everything you said. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. I really paid attention to Jack Johnson's interview with him in spring training, and he really talked about a lot of what I drew from it was he just felt a lot of pressure from the trade. And I think the bigger ballpark really played a factor into that. And I think now with the fences not only coming in, but being lowered, he's hopefully healthy. And he really kind of talked about how he completely took a different mindset into the offseason. He cut his hair, obviously. Like, there's just a different Jonathan India vibe. And I think you're going to see him break out for sure. And I don't anticipate like a 20 home run type of thing, but
Right.
I think you're going to see what we expected in the trade, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we're going to see a guy who gets back to just getting on base a ton. That's going to be his calling card. And, you know, I think I said he was hovering around 650 or, you know, 630 even OPS wise. That's not Jonathan India. I think he's been over 800 one time, and that was his rookie year when he won Rookie of the Year in the NL. But yeah, that trade, obviously a transition from just a what do I call Cincinnati's ballpark? It's a home run factory. Yeah, exactly. That's what you do. That's what you do in Cincinnati. You just hit balls out left and right. And yeah, I think we see Jonathan India, a healthy Jonathan India. He's got a solidified position at second base, or just keep him in the infield. I'm really not interested in seeing him at left anymore. But just keep him where he's comfortable. And he's had an off season to get healthy, and let's not underrate cutting the flow. It's huge, right? I'm a superstitious guy. You're a baseball player. I'm sure you're a superstitious guy. I think that might help. But no, in all seriousness, I think we see him get that OPS over 700 again. Hopefully it's hovering around 750. That'd be awesome and huge for the Royals. And they clearly believe in him. They gave him $8 million. They could have offered him far less, and they didn't.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. Everything you said is spot on. So my final actual question kind of leads, obviously we do the final four, but give me one bold prediction for the Royals in 2026. That could be a player that absolutely just the stats are off the chart, whatever it may be. Give me one bold prediction for the Royals. And it could even be that they win, you know, the World Series. So what is your bold prediction for the Royals in 2026?
I've got several actually.
All right, I'm ready.
The Royals make a move mid-season for a high-end reliever. Obviously, with that one, I'm worried about Estevez. I'm worried about maybe Urseg's health doesn't bounce back as well. Maybe some of the older guys in that pen just aren't what they were. So that's a big one. I think the Royals make a move for a high-end closer. My next one, Carter Jensen ends up catching more games, and he out-homers Salvador Perez.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, I don't love saying that about Salvi. Salvi's my guy. I mean, Kansas City Royal legend forever, right? He'll never leave my heart, but I don't want to be the guy to be like, this is the year he falls off. But I mean, every year that he gets older, it's getting closer, right? I'm not saying he's going to be ineffective, but I think we see less Salvador Perez this year, more DH more DH games for sure, more first base games for sure. But I think he just overall plays less games, and that's going to keep him fresh. That's going to keep his bat effective. So that's going to open up things for Carter Jensen. And that's really going to be, the way that Jensen just kind of gets that everyday role is Salvador might have to slow down a little bit, play a little bit less, but stay fresh. But yeah, I've got Carter Jensen actually hitting the second most homers on the team this year. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Man, I thought I had
for the program, we call them bold and daring predictions, right? So I went for bold.
I thought I had some bold predictions, dude. You got me beat. I like it. I'm the optimist. I truly am. Every year I
do
truly believe the Royals are going to do everything the greatest. Like, that's just my mentality. And so yeah, I really like the predictions, man. I do want to ask you one thing, because you brought up Salvi. Do you buy into anything he said in his post game when they interviewed him at the WBC, and he said, "Now I can retire"? Do you think that there's any weight behind that? Because I thought it was strange that he said they won the WBC, and then that was like his first thing is like, "Now I can retire." I thought that was pretty interesting.
No, so I actually get it with the Venezuelan players. I mean, Ronald Acuna said something incredibly similar. He said, "I love Atlanta, but it's this." Ronald Acuna is a guy, when the Braves won the World Series, he had a torn ACL. He was watching from the bench or maybe at home. Salvador Perez obviously did not get to catch that final out in the World Series. Now, he did win World Series MVP, obviously, but you remember the question that Derek Jeter asked to Michael Garcia? Salvi kind of addressed that the next day with Ken Rosenthal, actually. He was saying, I can't remember the actual quote, I don't have it in front of me, but he said, "I love Kansas City, don't get me wrong, but we're not playing for a city in this. We're playing for 30 million people and, an entire country." So I get that. Salvador, he finally got his moment on the field to catch that final out. And I mean, look at the celebration. All those dudes were crying. Like that was awesome. So no, I don't take too much from the comments other than that he fulfilled a dream that I'm sure a lot of kids playing baseball have.
Yeah, man. And it was nice because it's kind of tough because we're obviously Americans, and that team was absolutely loaded.
Yeah.
And they underperformed in that championship game. But at the same time, you got to be happy for the Royals getting the spotlight. It wasn't a premier team like the Yankees or the Dodgers. Like, it was the Kansas City Royals that were shining. Garcia got the MVP. Salvador Perez was the captain. I mean, it was incredible. So at the same time, I didn't want us to lose, but I would much rather lose to them than the DR, and I'm glad we were able to knock them off.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So we'll get to the Final Four. My first question is, my number one bold prediction was that Bobby Witt Jr. wins the MVP this year. And I'm going to give you kind of a quick, just brief rundown why I predicted that. I think, obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. was very close in a few years. I think he finished fourth last year. Obviously, Cal Raleigh had one of the most incredible switch-hitting catcher seasons of all time. And obviously, he's competing against Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge beats him in the homers. He beats him in the RBIs. Outside of that, Bobby Witt Jr. really kind of carries a lot of what you would hope. He plays an all-around position, premier position. He steals bags. He plays elite defense. He's a platinum glove, winner. I guess my question to you is do you think he wins the MVP, and what would it take for him to win the MVP?
Man, it definitely helps that the fences have been moved in, because I think Bobby was just one of the worst victims last year of just balls that would have been out in most other ballparks. Bobby, unfortunately, played at the K, right? And he was just hitting lasers at the wall, unfortunately. And he hits a lot of those like low liners that just don't have enough height to get out, but clearly enough distance because he's slamming balls on the wall all season. What it's going to take is, I mean, man, did you watch the Netflix game, the Yankees-Giants? It's going to take a lot more of those games from Aaron Judge, some strikeout games. Man, it's going to be tough. He's definitely going to have to up the home run count. He's going to have to at least approach 40. Probably the stolen base counter's got to be 30 plus, I would say. I don't think Bobby has a year under 30 stolen bases. You may have to correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right. You're good.
But I think he's on a streak right now. He's going to have to continue that streak and probably bat 300 plus, and that OPS has got to be near 1,000. It's going to take a lot because, I mean, last year Judge won it with his OPS was like damn near 1,100. So
it was 1,100.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to take a lot. And the advantage that Judge had last year is that the Yankees lineup was just so much better than the Royals lineup. If the Royals lineup adds some juice behind Bobby, then okay, all of a sudden pitchers are going to have to throw to Bobby Witt Jr., allowing him to do a little bit more damage. It's going to take a lot, and I think Bobby's second in the odds in betting right now for good reason, obviously. Obviously, it helps that he's such a star at shortstop, but team success is going to matter here too. I think the Royals need to have a playoff spot in order for Bobby to get there. But if all that happens, and maybe Aaron Judge takes a small step back from superhuman these last couple of years, then yeah, I think Bobby can win it.
Yeah, because we've seen Judge hit the IL a few times where, like I think last year he hit it for a little bit and it kind of really swayed it at the time, and that's where Cal Raleigh kind of took first place for a little bit. Man, I think he can do it. I do. I truly believe it. I think when people are saying he had a down year and he finishes 4th in the MVP, that just tells you the type of player he is.
Right.
And what he's capable of doing. So, and he was able to really flash that on national level at the WBC. And he didn't hit the greatest, but the ability to flash the glove, man, people know who Bobby Witt Jr. is now. And when you got McAfee tweeting about him, it's going viral. So, yeah, I'm excited for that. So that leads me to the next question because we really talked about that. How many home runs do you think Bobby Witt Jr. hits?
I'll go with 32.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. I think he was like 23, 24 last year.
Yeah, it was, I think 25, honestly. But I could be wrong. I think you were right.
You know what? Then I'll bump it up. I'll go 35.
Okay. Yeah, I heard. I think it was definitely on 810. I can't remember which show it was, but they said that they feel he was going to be closer to 40. And I'm like, man, if he does that, that's incredible.
They may have been David Lesky.
That's what it was. Yes.
Grounds. Yeah. Yep, I think that was Lesky this week. Yeah. And man, I mean, I agree with him. I think last year, for whatever reason, the power just dipped. It's not like I don't think Bobby was dealing with an injury last year, but I definitely think just the ineffectiveness of the lineup around him definitely hurt him a little bit. Garcia, it kind of took the Royals a little bit to, kind of just realize that Michael Garcia was for real. And obviously it didn't help with just India just kind of being so poor from the leadoff spot. This year, I think that lineup and those players know their positions, they know their roles, and I think it's all just a benefit to Bobby, and he's going to see more pitches, I hope.
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you. I think I was leaning like 38 home runs is where I would kind of feel like, especially with the park coming in. And I think with a more deeper lineup, I think you have to, Major League Baseball, you're kind of working around guys at times, and you know that Bobby has speed. So it's almost like, would you rather pitch to Bobby and let him get on and then let Vinny and Salvi and the rest of those guys drive him in? Or would, from a power perspective, or would you rather just challenge Bobby and hope to get him out and then try to attack those guys? So I think there's a lot more protection around Bobby, and I think that's going to help his numbers dramatically. All right, Kyle, so obviously my third question is going to be if you could pick your favorite player on this current team, and my part B is your favorite player of all time for the Kansas City Royals.
Okay, I'll go position player-wise. I'll go Michael Garcia. I feel Bobby would be a little bit too cliche of an answer. Because, who doesn't love watching Bobby Witt Jr. play? I'll go Michael Garcia just because I think he's so smooth at third base, and that's a position I grew up playing as a kid. And I love the fire that he plays with, the competitive spirit. It's awesome to watch. And then pitchers-wise, man, I really liked, I'll go as a sneaky picker. I really liked watching Noah Cameron last year. He would often, find himself sometimes just, in struggles or maybe just didn't have it that night. And he would find a way to fire out 5 or 6 tough innings, right? I love a pitcher like that, a workhorse. I think he's just what the Royals need at the back of that rotation. And then all time, man,
That's tough.
I'm going to go with Lorenzo Cain.
Okay.
I think, he didn't hit a ton of home runs, but I think he still had the most beautiful home run follow through. The way he would just lean back. I try to copy it in my adult beer league softball games. I start leaning back, man. So yeah, I'll go with Lo Cain. And then pitcher wise, man, I love me some Danny Duffy back in the day. But I got to go Greinke. He's just a legend, and yeah, I always feel bad. He fell like 23 short of 3,000 strikeouts, and I always wish somebody would give him a chance to go get 3K. But I'm gonna go with Greinke. He's just awesome on and off the field.
I like it, man. Yeah, those are great answers. I think right now my current favorite, dude, it's tough. I think I got to go Vinny Pasquantino. I got his jersey over my
Strong
right.
choice.
And I think it took it to a whole new level with the WBC and his leadership. And we saw that breakout season last year, and I definitely think he's capable of doing that. And pitcher-wise, man, that's tough. I was leaning Danny Duffy because I always liked his demeanor. I liked how he was as a person. He was down to earth. He was always walking around the plaza. People could take pictures and talk to him. He was pretty chill. My favorite player of all time is Alex Gordon, man.
Yeah.
I am a big-time Alex Gordon fan, and I think when I was in college playing baseball, he had finished Nebraska and was with the Royals, and man, I tell you, it was the work ethic. As a player in college, seeing how he worked, it was like I wanted to replicate that and do everything Alex Gordon did. And I think my favorite pitcher of all time, man, it's going to be kind of a wild card as well, but it was Joakim Soria.
I love it.
Yeah, so for a long time when I was pitching, I mean, I wore 48 because of Joakim Soria, and then really like my true number for 48 was Alex Gordon for the 4, and then Mike Moustakas for the 8.
Oh, I love it. Nice.
So yeah, man, but yeah, I was a big Joakim Soria fan. I always liked when the Mexicutioner, although we have to be careful saying that now, but man, I remember that so well, and him coming in and just closing out games was incredible. My final question to you is, and I think we kind of already hit on it, but I want to double down, is what is your final prediction for wins for the Royals this year? I think you said 88, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I think Detroit wins the division. Unfortunately, I think they can be around 95, 96 wins, but I mean, 88 wins I think should be enough to get the Royals in a wild card spot and hopefully just take home a wild card series. We saw them do it to Baltimore 2 years ago, and that Baltimore team won like 98 games, right? So as long as you're able to secure that wild card spot, I think 88 should be enough.
You know, I tried to think of actual wild cards this year in the AL, and one of the teams that I think could potentially put some things together is like the Rangers.
Yeah.
The AL East is so loaded though, man. Like, I mean, Boston's going to be pretty competitive. You got the Yankees, who most people are predicting to win, which is crazy because the Blue Jays went to the World Series. And then you got the Blue Jays, and then you kind of got the Orioles, who are kind of a mystery because they addressed the pitching staff, but they didn't like fully go get a complete stud.
Yeah.
And so I really kind of question that, but man, they are so loaded in the East. And outside of the West, I mean, the Athletics could be sneaky, I think, because they're so young and they have that mentality now. They just don't have the pitching. But man, I've
got Nick Kurtz as a dark horse MVP candidate.
Man,
actually. That
dude is a monster. When I covered college baseball, when he was at Wake Forest, Wake Forest, dude was a beast, just an absolute beast. Like, and then obviously we saw what he did with the Athletics. It was just incredible. So a big fan of Kurtz, man. Yeah, they got some things out there. It's gonna be exciting, but I really just tried to kind of think like who could truly compete with the Royals in that aspect, and I think it's just really the AL East. I mean, I don't envision anybody in the Central trying to sneak up like the Twins, the White Sox, the Guardians, but you never know, man. Injuries, all kinds of things could happen, but that's just baseball. So I appreciate you coming on, Kyle. I really do. It means a lot, man. I'm hoping we can talk baseball throughout the year. It's something I hope we can keep doing, and we are going to be talking hopefully winning Royals baseball as we predicted. So we'll see how it goes. Before we wrap this up, where can everybody find you, Kyle?
Listen to me on Sports Radio 810. I produce the program with Seren Petro. I'm a co-host of the Night Shift with Michael Darcy on Wednesday nights. Then find me right here on Lucas's channel. Follow me on Twitter at @KyleCollier_810.
There it is. Well, I appreciate everybody checking out this video. Let me know down in the comments section what your bold predictions are. I'm excited to see what you guys got. Make sure you guys smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, share this video, and we end every video the exact same way. Have a good day.